So, one of the great things about this drying out, like I said, is that the skin is translucent. Actually, it's super obvious right here. Okay, see right here how completely see-through it is? Okay, you can actually see the pharynx a little bit better. So that thin line right there, that thin line, that's the pharynx. That's kind of dried out. Okay, but it runs all the way down until it hits the intestine, and then it starts going down, and you know, mouth, pharynx, intestine, anus. Okay, but okay, this thicker portion right here, this thick portion that I've just kind of stuck out, see that? Okay, this thick portion is the uteri. So it's the uterus. This is where the eggs, the ovum, okay, become fertilized by the males. So when these have sex, when a female roundworm and a male roundworm, or male lumbricoides and a female lumbricoides, have sex, this is where the ovum are fertilized. These are the ovaries. Okay, you can tell these are the ovaries because there's all these really tiny thin lines, and then there's these thicker ones. Okay, and these thicker ones, okay, so I'm just gonna take it out completely. These thicker ones right here are the ovaries. Okay, and actually we just lucked out that right there, I mean, no, not lucked out, I'm a pro. Okay, right there where it looks like it's sort of branching off, so I'm gonna rest that there. And if you look right here, see how it's all together and then it just kind of branches off. It forms this Y shape, okay, like a capital Y right there. That place where it forms the Y shape down here, that is our vagina. Okay? So that is the roundworm's vagina, somewhere in this area right there. Okay, it's characterized by this Y shape, and up here is the uterus. So again, where the ovum are fertilized by the male. Okay, so I'm going to leave that off. Okay, and I'm going to come right back up here. Okay, and I'm going to kind of take this guy out. Okay. And it might be hard for you to tell, but this was once connected to that right there, and okay, so it looks something like that. Okay, so again, uterus, vagina. Okay, perfect. So although the intestine is right here and it's nice and flat, it's actually a completely different color. And I know you're like, oh my god, you'd think it'd be like some highlighted color, or I'm over here saying it's completely different. But if you look, these have sort of a yellowish tint. I mean, they're dried out. Great. They're dried out, so they look kind of yellow. And this guy has more of a white tint. Okay, and it's actually very flat. So these, they look round, they look thick, and that one, you might not be able to tell very well, but if you look at it from an angle, it's very flat and it looks white. So because it's flat and it looks white, that's how I know that that is part of the intestines. Okay, the intestines like to be kind of flat, especially when it comes to more simple animals than humans. Okay, it's flat because it increases surface area. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, these tiny, thin, stringy looking things, so I'm going to go ahead and pop some of those guys and just put them right there. Okay, so these that just look like they're little roots or something like that, okay, kind of falling apart here. Okay, these are round. Okay, they're very round, but they're extremely thin. They're obviously thinner than that or that. Okay, so those guys right there, okay, those are your oviducts, or should I say the female's oviducts. So what an oviduct does is it sort of navigates the ovum from the ovary to the uterus so that the male can fertilize the female through the vagina right there. Or should I say right there in the uterus. Okay? So, again, these thin, tiny, like, they kind of look like fibers. Okay? Like fibers, like if you were to look at your towel, those little fibers that kind of stick out, they look like that. Okay? So there you go. That guy right there. Okay. So, those guys will eventually connect to the uterus, which has actually dried out way too much. Yeah. So, here's some more of that oviduct. There's a lot of oviduct. This oviduct is kind of folded in on itself, so it looks like it's thicker right here. But it's actually not. It's just really, really folded in on itself. And that's actually just part of intestines. Okay. So we've almost completely gutted this thing. See? There's like nothing left in there. And that's what I was trying to avoid until we were able to get these things out. But the ovary is located about here. It just dried out too much, so it kind of blended in with the oviducts. So if you were to trace an egg, it starts at the ovary, makes its way through all of that thin oviduct that was right here, all the way into the uteri. It's uterus for one, it's uteri for both, okay? Into the uteri, and then makes its way down the uteri into this Y shape. Oh, it's falling apart. Into this Y shape right here. Okay, where it'll go down to the vagina. Yep. Again, I'm just making sure everything's nice and pulled here. Okay, to the vagina, which is, oh no, it ripped off. So, which is actually located lower than this. Okay, it's about down here, but this part came off. So that's where you would find it. Okay. So now that we're done with that female, I'm gonna go ahead and put this this little dry male right over there. So I'm gonna go ahead, and since you guys already saw how I opened up the female, I'm not gonna show you how I open up the male. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab my baggie again. Okay, my secured baggie. See how they are still nice and juicy and thick and plump? Okay. I'm gonna take this guy out. And let me find another male. Ah, perfect. All right, here's another male. Ooh, this is a big male. Wow, this is actually a huge male. I don't wanna waste that male. Okay, and again. Okay, so I'm going to pause this and I'm going to open this guy up and then I'll be right back with you.